It's a beautiful Saturday morning, I would say, because I can see the sun shining on the other side. How have you been? How has been your week? What have you been up to? What stories caught your attention? Is there anything that you would love to discuss or anything that you would love to actually say your opinion on? Well, the breakfast show is right here to make sure that you have the platform. This is Camnet Breakfast. Good morning. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji, and yes, of course, I'm not alone on stage. As usual, I have my partner in crime.
Yes,
Hi,
always.
Sarah.
Hi, Precious.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm hungry.
You're hungry.
I'm seriously hungry, man.
Serious.
It's
Number 0304.
You see?
I
you
don't.
can't sleep.
You
When
can't.
hunger
It's
strikes,
very
right?
impossible.
But anyway,
Yeah.
how has been your week?
It has been okay. How's been your week?
My week has been good.
Amazing.
Has been busy.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. For me, I think it has been a bit boring.
Why boring?
Because
You should be accompanying me on my errands.
no problem. I know you always cover
You'll
me
be
up with something nice.
acting chief bridesmaids.
Can't wait for that.
Anyways, remember that you can come through in the studio and you can actually get through to us live on Satan 0968675273. Our topic of discussion is quite sensitive, and this comes in light due to the reports that came in, I think a week or 2 weeks ago, where 4,000 girls are infected with HIV and AIDS weekly. So our topic of discussion for today is, what do you think can be done to reduce the high number of HIV cases? And then later on, we'll look at what we have zooming into the headlines, the stories that caught our attention in the course of the week. We were just remembering the founding father.
Yes.
African icon, Pan-Africanist, as others would call him, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, and we saw quite a number of people give their speeches concerning the same, and also my chief. My chief also said something about it. So we'll get into that, but quickly, before we waste much of your time, let's get into our first conversation of the day, which is the Morning Boost. Good morning.
It's a beautiful morning, and I welcome you to Morning Boost. I'm so glad that you've tuned in and hope you had a great night. So let's do some workouts this morning, and we're going to have a great time. So we're going to start with a warm-up and then make some aerobics movements for today. Okay, ready? Let's go. A beautiful morning to everybody, and welcome to Morning Boost. Let's go. Go. And the V step now. Let's go. Last V step. Back to step touch. V step. Let's go. Let's go. And marching. And 4, 3, 2, step touch, go. Bring in your hands now. Let's go. Let's go. Just a quick workout in the morning. Not a full-fledged workout, no. Keep going. And 4, 3, 2, hamstring, go. Four, 3, 2, step touch. 4, 3, 2, and hamstring. And 4, 3, 2-step touch. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Keep going. Stay at it. Go. Easy basic workouts for the morning. And matching. Skip jump now. Go. Let's go. Skip. Try this. Even if you feel heavy in your body, you can do this. Let's go. There's always a first time. You may struggle, but it's doable. Let's go. And 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Change now. Let's go. Very easy for a morning workout. Lift your knee very high. Go. Let's go. Stay at it. Stay at it. We're going to bring in a kick now from a knee high to a kick. Go. Go. Let's go. Let there be a blood circulation on your legs so that you don't have that numbness you feel at times. Kick. 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 Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Straight kicks now. Go. Straight kicks. Go in the sides. Okay, keep going. Almost done with our 5 minutes workout. Knee high. Try this every morning. It's gonna do wonders to your body. Let's go, we're almost there. All right, team. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. This is Isaac Mata, your presenter. I'm gonna see you next time at the same time, and have a great day. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.
Well, welcome back. As we always say when we finish the morning boost, is that you don't have to wait for the breakfast shows for you to work out. You can find time during the course of the week, not every day, at least also find time to rest once you do the exercises. How is your squats going?
Yeah, I stopped.
You stopped?
Yeah, I'm on break right now.
Oh yeah?
I'll restart maybe next week.
Okay.
Maybe.
How long have you been on the break?
Huh?
How long have you been on the break?
I think it's a month now.
Yeah, past 2 more months.
I think past 2 months. You
2
remember?
more months, eh?
2 more months. I'm thinking like maybe it's. Should I?
Anyways, you need to actually, if you want to start exercising, you need to know which part of your body you are targeting. Okay, there are different exercises for the legs, for the hands, for the tummy, for the handles. They call them love handles. I don't know why they call them that. And also other parts of the body. So if you want to exercise, you need to make sure that you know what you are targeting and what you want to work on, so that you specifically work towards that. And also, like I mentioned the last time, it's not the right time to go on a diet during cold season. You want to eat anyhow, anything, but just be safe. Reduce on the portion. If you want to maintain your weight, just reduce on the portion and avoid carbs, carbohydrates, and sugar, and a lot of salt. That's all I know. That's how I do my
it's very
my
much
diet.
important to avoid.
I just
that.
avoid certain foods for a certain period of time.
Yes.
Not that you have an salad the whole day. No.
Diet, no, it won't help
It
you
won't
out.
help.
Yeah.
Because when you eat more, and then what's the whole point?
What's the whole point? So it's better you just balance it up. Less of carbohydrates, less of carbon.
Wait. What's
Less of carbonated things.
That's the way.
Yes.
Carbonated.
Yes, carbonated.
Carbonated drinks.
Yeah, drinks especially this season.
So yeah.
Just less of it.
Just a few. We are not. What do you call them?
We're not restricting your
We're not even professional trainers.
Oh yeah,
this is what works for us. We don't know if it would work for you.
Work for you, definitely.
Yes, so just carbohydrates, carbonated drinks,
less of
oils, fried stuff, junk food. Avoid those things during this period because you will just wake up one day and you'll be shocked where the weight came from, and it will be hard to lose it. But anyways, moving on to our next segment of the day, which is
the health talk.
Yeah,
that's
the health
next
talk.
segment.
We'll be back after this one.
Good morning and welcome to your health segment on the Breakfast Show. I'm Dr. Chelo Mwanza, a pediatrician and a member of the Medical Women Association of Zambia. Your health segment is proudly and happily brought to you by the Medical Women Association of Zambia. This week, we're looking at the importance of under 5 clinic visits and its components and activities that actually do take place when we take our children for under 5. We have looked at how we can monitor a child's growth, that's their weight, their height, and the brain development. We've also looked at appropriate play and brain stimulation. We've looked at vaccinations, and we've also looked at nutrition. We've looked at different food varieties that can help your child grow. Today, we're going to look at the HIV services that we do offer at the under 5 clinic. So, as you bring your child for under 5 clinic, we are going to screen both the mother, you as a mother or as a guardian, as you bring your child, and also the child for HIV. As a country, we are working towards elimination of mother-to-child transmission, and that's why from conception, most of our mothers have noted that the screening starts right from the time you book for your antenatal visits. In an event that you test negative at the very beginning, we are going to test you as a mother, as an expecting mother, every 3 months for the HIV, and you are also encouraged to come with your husband so that even them too can be tested so that we can prevent this child from acquiring the HIV. In an event that a mom is already on treatment for HIV or they do test positive for their HIV during their antenatal, start their mom on treatment there and then. So this is to prevent the baby from acquiring the HIV. So these HIV services do continue even after you deliver your child. So as you take the child for the under 5 clinics, we are going to continue screening you as a mother and even as a child for HIV. And so the most important thing or the important aspects of these under 5 visits is that we're going to enable us to test your child accordingly, because at different ages we do run different tests to detect the HIV virus in the child. So if a mom is not HIV positive, we will, as long as this mom continues to breastfeed, we're going to test the mother every 3 months so that the child does not get the HIV through the breast milk. In an event that the mom is already on treatment, we're going to put the child on what we call prophylaxis medication. So this is to help prevent the child from acquiring the HIV. And we're also going to continue encouraging this particular parent to continue taking their drugs as they are supposed to. And we also continue to test this child using different test methods according to their age group. Whilst you're at the under 5 clinics, we know that HIV cannot only be gotten as a child is born, but also through breast milk, even as you breastfeed your child. So we're going to discuss with you the best feeding practices for your child. You may opt to not breastfeed your child and just go on the formula way. That's still fine. We'll support you as long as you can afford the formula milk. If you want to breastfeed your child, we're still going to support you and give you the required guidelines for us to be able to protect your child. So as you take a look at this under 5 clinic, at every stage you will notice that at birth we may need to test your child using what we call a PCR test. At about 6 weeks again, we're still going to test your child. At 6 months, we're going to test your child. So depending on the result. So if your child tests positive at 6 weeks, we're going to move from the prophylaxis medication to the actual treatment that they need. In an event that your child tests negative to HIV at birth, it means we need to test them at 6 weeks. So if at 6 weeks the test is still negative, so I'm talking about a situation where this mother is on treatment because they're HIV positive. Okay, so at 6 weeks, we're going to test. At 6 months, we're going to test. At 1 year, we're going to test. So now, at this point, the test will change from the PCR to the rapid test, which we normally use in the general population. And so if your child continues to test negative, even at 12 weeks, and you continue to breastfeed, so we're going to test the child again at 18 months, which is 1.5 years. At this point, if your child tests negative, it means they are negative, and by this time would have already stopped the prophylaxis medication. So these are some of the services that we give at the under 5 clinic. So if your child has HIV or has acquired the HIV, we're still going to continue seeing the child, giving them the required medication, and also at 6 weeks we're going to introduce Septrin. So Septrin prevents your child from having other diseases that can further worsen the immune system. We're going to continue talking with you, the parent, the best feeding practices, and even the best family planning services. So these are methods that, in an event that you are breastfeeding, we're going to look for the best options that will not affect your milk production, but at the same time also help you to have children when you desire, and also to enable this child that you have to grow even before you can have the next child. So, having talked about HIV, which is not the only disease that can affect this child that's growing, the other illnesses that we need to look out for, which are outlined in the under 5 clinic. So even as you come for these visits, we are going to teach you what to look out for in a child that has diarrhea, for instance. If your child has had one loose stool, or really when you notice that the stool that the child is passing is lighter than usual, it means your child has diarrhea. So we're going to teach you how to make the ORS and how to give it. If your child is vomiting and they cannot tolerate the ORS, or they're not just drinking it, they're spitting it, it means your child may need to be taken to the hospital because they need to have this fluid replaced that they're passing as diarrhea. If you see your child's lips getting dry, if you see their eyes sunkening, I mean like deepening, it means your child is actually dehydrated. If you see that they're actually losing weight and their skin, when you pinch it, it doesn't go back as easily as it's supposed to, it means your child is dehydrated. And so all that information is shared even as you go for the under 5 visits. If your child has pneumonia, it means your child will be breathing fast, they'll have difficulties breathing, they'll have a fever, which is high body temperature. It means your child might be sick and has pneumonia. So all that information we're going to discuss with you as you come through for the under 5 clinic. So thank you for joining us in this health segment. This week we've been looking at the importance of under 5 visits, their components, which is child growth monitoring. We talked about the weight, the height, the brain development. We went on to talk about the nutrition and how that breast milk is the best milk for every child, and that you need to exclusively breastfeed. So when you say exclusively, we mean you don't even need to add water because it's already contained in the milk that this child is giving for the first 6 months, and that solid foods, porridge is also solid food, so other foods can only be added at about 6 months. We talked about vaccinations, how that these children need to get vaccinated to prevent them from acquiring deadly diseases and also spreading them to their other children in the household. We also talked about how, to take care of your child in an event that they're unwell. Let's say they have diarrhea, so you need to give them the ORS, or danger signs to look for. If your baby is having difficulties breathing, they are breathing so fast, they have a fever, you need to take them to the hospital. Above that, we talked about HIV services, what tests we're going to do, the feeding methods that you need to give in a child who's HIV positive, and also the giving of Septrin. I talked about vitamin A supplementation for both the mother and the child, and also deworming services. Thank you so much. This health segment was proudly and happily brought to you by the Medical Women Association of Zambia. I'm Dr. Chelo Mwanza, a pediatrician. Thank you.
And there you have it on the Healthy Corner, where we were much educated on how HIV is being transmitted to a child and also the mother. You know, it's very much interesting that they had to tackle up the topic concerning. They had to tackle up the topic that we have today.
Yeah, it's actually marrying.
Yeah.
I was also the topic of discussion on the health talk was about HIV services, and also they mentioned that from inception they will try by all means to make sure if the mother is infected, the child will not be infected either during birth or during breastfeeding. That's the reason why it's very, very important for women, once you just find out that you are pregnant, you go for your antenatal and start as soon as possible. And also one thing that I was impressed about is that they will guide you through from the time that you go and start your antenatal up to the time that you give birth. Even after the child is born, they'll take note in the under 5.
Which is quite interesting.
Yeah, as upcoming mothers, we're learning every day.
A lot, definitely.
Yes, and knowing for the fact that there's that prevention of transmission of HIV from mother to child is actually a good thing. So you are safe. You might actually be HIV positive but give birth to HIV negative child. So we're praying that if you just find out you're pregnant, you start your antenatal as soon as possible. That is what is advised. Our topic of discussion for today is, what do you think can be done to prevent the high number of HIV cases in the country? Now, before we get into that, let's take a look at how the stock exchange rate looks like as of today. Let's see how the money market is doing.
So the United States dollar is buying at 16.82 ngwe, and it is selling at 17.15 ngwe. The euro is buying at 18.89 ngwe, selling at 19.26 ngwe. The British pound, it's buying at 20.59 ngwe and selling at 20.99 ngwe. The South African rand, it is buying at 1.05 ngwe and selling at 1.07 ngwe. That's what we have on the money market.
Well, moving on, 0968675273. That's 0968675273 is the number that you're catching us on. If you have any opinions or any concerns or anything that caught your attention in the course of the week on the news item that you saw either on social media or right here on Camnet TV. Now, quickly zooming into the headlines, let's start with the topic that caught our attention and has actually triggered the topic of discussion for today, which is the high number of HIV cases.
Adolescents in Zambia currently take up more than half of the total population. However, many young people in the country are facing many challenges in line with sexually transmitted diseases, teenage pregnancies, to mention a few. Wednesday, 15th June 2022, saw some civil society organizations make submissions to Parliament over what should be included in the 8th National Development Plan from 2022 to 2026, in line with healthcare, nutrition, education services for the young people. In his presentation at Parliament, Southern African AIDS Dissemination Service SAFAIDS Executive Director Crispin Chomba said Lusaka province recorded about 53,000 new infections, and the infections were among the adolescents. Camnet News caught up with some Lusaka youths who tell this reporter that the increase is due to peer pressure and the need to maintain social status.
As if because information is being given, we have many youth-friendly spaces, but I feel as if maybe it's due to ignorance and maybe they are peer pressured by their friends. So with the universities, young girls tend to have adults dating with adults, so that they should maybe find money, poverty, because it's one of the reasons.
Meanwhile, Zambia Medical Association President Crispin Moyo urges relevant authorities to empower adolescents with survival skills to reduce the number of young people resorting to prostitution as a source of income.
But teaching our young people and young adults comprehensive sexuality education to ensure that they are aware of what they can do to protect themselves. Second, we can also emphasize on giving our young people life skills, survival skills. How can they survive in this harsh environment and engage in gainful ventures other than resorting to prostitution, you know.
Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
There you have it. So actually the most disheartening is that majority of the infected are actually adolescents. Yes. And I don't know, I feel like we have not been talking about HIV much of late. I feel like it's a conversation that used to happen a long way back. Yes, but right about now I feel like we have become so relaxed. Yeah. I don't know if it's for the fact that there's the PrEP. I don't know for the fact that there's that. That's the reason why people have become so relaxed and just, lack of better term, careless. Yes. And also it would be sad someone to tell a story to say, no, I was born HIV negative, but then I got it while I was growing up. Well, there's some accidents that happen. We were taught in school how somebody can get infected with HIV apart from sexual intercourse. So I feel like more sensitization should be done, especially in schools, just to talk more about how you can get HIV and how you can prevent it. And also the other thing that caught my attention is there's some people that have come out, especially on social media. I hope to have her come and say it soon. Her name is actually, she's my namesake actually, Precious, and she recently just got married. She came out and she said, once you find out you're HIV positive, it's not easy to accept. There's some denial for the longest time. Others are in denial for like 3 to 4, 5 years, 10 years, and then accept later, then start taking the medication late. So I remember she wrote a post about how you can go in these hospitals and seek counseling. Even when you go for HIV testing, that's if you have ever gone and tested. They will ask you certain questions before they actually do the test. What are you going to do when you find out that you're HIV positive? And if you're HIV negative, how are you going to make sure that you continue protecting yourself? So I feel like more sensitization on HIV should be done. I remember way back we had so many adverts that were talking about how to prevent yourself from HIV. Abstinence, Virgin Power, Virgin Pride, all those adverts from way back. I remember.
But nowadays, it's not given much.
I don't think I remember the last time I saw an advert talking about HIV and how you can prevent yourself from it on TV.
It's very much rare nowadays because, okay, looking at the age of people who are getting infected, it's starting from the range of 12, 18.
Yes, 25.
25, yeah, in 30. That range. So the only thing that you can do is to prevent yourself from getting infected. If at all you're infected, just it's better just take medication. And to those who are passing through that process of denial, you can go to any healthy facility where you can be advised or counseled for it, because as long as you keep on waiting,
the worse
the virus keeps on spreading.
Then you get HIV and
AIDS. Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
so it's better just take up the measures.
Yeah, and there are circumstances. We're not saying that everybody that gets HIV and AIDS, they wanted to get HIV and AIDS. There are circumstances where you're born with it. There are circumstances where you were involved in an accident, and then in the accident there was someone who was infected with HIV, and then the blood mixed of some sort because of the accident. There's sometimes where you don't even know, and you use a tool that was used by someone with HIV. And when we talk of tools, we're talking about sharp tools. We're talking of needles. We're talking of razor blades. What you need to know is that you cannot get HIV by hugging. You cannot get HIV by using the same utensil, talk of cups, a plate, a spoon that was used by an HIV person. So the stigmatization actually needs to stop. And more sensitization. This is my appeal to the Ministry of Health and all those that do that have non-governmental organizations that they need to take this upon themselves and sensitize more on HIV. I think I should actually take it up as well and just do my research. Just post 1 or 2 quotes on social media just to keep the thread going on how you can sensitize your fellow Zambians on HIV. So our topic of discussion for today is, how do you think or what do you think can be done to prevent the high number of HIV cases in the country? Quickly moving on, we are zooming into the headlines, and our next bulletin that we carried out, which was yesterday, is a 14-month-old baby that went missing without trace. Well, the story on the ground is that the mother, a 22-year-old mother, went to actually one of the shops to get a diaper for the baby, and then while she was away, 2 men actually came to her compound looking for her. They even took time to ask the neighbor about her whereabouts, and the neighbor said that she had actually just gone to the shop to go and get something. And then later on, the baby was heard crying. Then afterwards, when the mother came back, she discovered that her baby was sleeping. The baby she left. The baby was kidnapped. The baby she actually left sleeping. Let's get into it in the conversation later.
This is the cry of Grace Mumba, a 22-year-old mother of Lusaka's Mandevu compound, mourning the mysterious disappearance of a 1-year, 2-month-old baby, identified as Dorothy, from their house on the night of Thursday, 16th June 2022. Ms. Mumba explains to Camnet News that she lives alone in her house with her 2 children, stating that her firstborn was at her parents' house while she was with the youngest, when she decided to go and borrow diapers from a nearby shop around 21 hours, only to find her child, whom she had left sleeping, missing.
How old? I'm 4 years.
One of her neighbors explains that 2 men came looking for her during the time that she was at the shop, suspecting that they could be the kidnappers.
Grace. So pamene vanabwera nati Grace ni uko kudoko amene kulira mwana nishi mwana alira mnyumba. But anila ila chaenda kushop. So ndio pamene vanabwerera vazinguluka vakamba tunampeze Grace na kama nati do ya first ndio amene munkala Grace. Vanazinguluka futi nobwerera vanambo kamba panja. So ninamvera time panapita kwa 10 minutes mwana aleka kulira mnyumba. Naganiza chipenangu mwana yu akabwera. Nambo mvela mavoice ya banyamata bakamba ti hoi tie nambo uza mnyamata amene ninkala naye nati baoneka baenda na Grace abaperekeza balendo bake ni mwamene banaendera panapita chabe time ngono Grace abwena niko nkoshera ati banti ichokani nati ni chani ine ni dwala sinimvera bwino ati ya ichokani mwana banibera mnyumba.
Other neighbors have expressed the need for those living near each other to look out for each other's safety.
Because ngati munzanu pamene munkala munzanu sanga sowese mwana pamene munkala ni pamidadada singakane kuziva pamene mwana aso maonaka because munzanu ukapeza munzako neighbor unapeza ndiye brulu wako because mwana sanga sove apa pali madoi nango sanga ziva ati mwana aso bwana singakane mvera muntatana segula na pali neighbor sanga mvera ati kunta segula mudo because 21 hours yene bakamba yo 21 hours yo kandi 19 hours yene mukambanisha vantu vari kupitana pitana.
Others spoken to in the community have called for more police patrols to prevent such incidents.
So is this the first time in the recent past, Pamenapa, when such a thing has happened? Kubewa mwana or Vintuchab, is it a new thing?
It's not a new thing because in a baba shop pange na my internet cafe Vintu Vibewa, but but nama properties yabeo.
The whole community is awaiting to hear the outcome of the case, which has formally been reported at Mandevu Police Post, stating that such crimes are alien to the community. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
I have so many questions.
Definitely.
So many questions. I remember one of the neighbors in the clip actually mentioned to say, it's a neighborhood. I remember it mentioned Pam Dada. So Manumba Konkana. So, for example, not that I'm condemning the woman that had heard that the child was crying and she was told that she had gone to get something by the shop and the people came looking for her. In her mind, she knew that there was no one home. So you cannot direct people to someone's house when they know when there's no one home. And when she heard the baby crying, why didn't she go and check?
Those are the questions. But I think she explained herself to say, I heard the baby cry. Then after 10 minutes, the baby stopped crying. That's what she explained. She heard the baby stopped crying. So she thought that maybe the mother is back and she has escorted the visitors. I think on that, I also have questions, lots of questions, but we just pray and hope that the baby can be found safe and sound.
And also there's a concern that you raised to say, what if the people that got the baby are from the father's side?
That I'm also thinking that way, you know, because maybe at Veka, she stays with the 2 children.
But one of them
now where's the husband?
One of them was obviously not married.
They're not married. Maybe
they're having issues. So
but I like this. But maybe maybe the lady refused to give the child to the father.
But
I'm just making up.
Still, Sarah.
Yeah.
You can't. Even you, like we know each other, right?
Yeah.
When I'm not home and you find that the door is not locked, you have no right to enter my house and then, or even call me later to say, no, you are not home, I entered your house, I got that pair of shoes.
No,
I would be offended.
Definitely.
I would say that's theft. There is no shiny relationship. Now, still, it doesn't make sense. If he's caught, if he's found wanting, he needs to face the law.
Definitely.
Because the mother is panicking when she's traumatized. She doesn't know whether she will see her baby again or maybe the baby will be found. So there's no way. There's just so many questions surrounding this story.
A baby, 1 year, 2.
You couldn't even stand to go and check. But anyways, that's my opinion. I feel like
mine as well.
I feel like, you know, they would have gone to check to see after she heard that the baby was crying.
But anyway, she has explained herself.
Yeah, she has explained herself.
We just thought the baby
assumptions. But anyways, just look out for your neighbor.
Yes.
Especially if you stay in an area where you know it's not safe at night. 21 hours. There are some people that are moving, but that's the time that people are actually sleeping.
People are active at that time.
And for the fact that it wasn't even in a war fence, and looking at the area as well. So we just hope that the baby will be found. It's so sad that the mother is going through such. You can tell how she was crying.
Yeah,
that
she was.
Yeah, it's losing a baby. 1 year, 2 months.
Anyway, such things.
Yeah, 1 year, 2 months. But anyways, 09686752278 is 73 is the number that you're catching us on. 09686752273 is the number that you are catching us on. And remember that our topic of discussion is how do you think or what can be done to reduce the high number of HIV cases. You can go to our Facebook platform and comment from there, or you can actually call us live here on set. Now, moving on to our next story is the shortage of, Isaac would say, paraffin in the country, and how the price has tripled. There's a shortage of kerosene, and some filling stations said they don't remember the last time they stocked kerosene, which the last they stocked it was 6 months ago. So the price on the market has actually tripled. Instead of buying a 5 liter of paraffin at 75 kwacha, people are getting it at 200 or even 300 kwacha.
It is globally estimated that over 500 million households still use fuels, particularly kerosene, commonly known as paraffin, for lighting in the absence of electricity, as a clean alternative to solid fuels and for cooking. Despite the importance of the commodity, a check by Camnet News has revealed that the commodity is scarce on the market. The traders of the commodity talked to explained that it has been over 4 months since paraffin was readily available on the market, citing that they are being overpriced on the black market in order to purchase the commodity.
It is a lot because it's hard for us to find it, and it's very used to. A 5 liter we get it at 75, close to 80 kwacha when we go to a filling station. But once we go somewhere else, to those people that order in drums, they will say 200.
chikala chovuta ngati ndibe parafini. Sometimes mufuna kushoka kuvoshoka kushokako mukatirapo parafini msanga bapya but yapa ya dula sioneka mpaka vamene vali nayo parafini kavaichosa kuti kaya pakokola ndawa ikadobwera muboma ili nechiparafini inamba kuvuta kumanje yapo
bantu they are not buying it because long operation tusaite kwacha 300 yabwerera pansi maningi katima order 900 money.
A check at some filling station by Camnet News indicated that the commodity has not been on the market for over 8 months. The filling station attendants explained to this reporter that the commodity is indeed scarce. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Well, there you have it.
It's quite.
The holy paraffin in the market.
No, short. At 300 only.
Hey, 300 kwacha only. That will actually be looked into, because I remember way back, paraffin was one thing that never used to miss in the house because you would use it to start a fire. Well, now there are those Thomas sticks.
And also make cobra.
Yes. Cobra, paraffin. Yes. You use candle.
And candle.
And then the red powder. Kutali tofu mamwelesa.
Paraffin ya shota nomba.
Kutali tofu. You know, I actually lost that thought. I lost that memory. Yes.
No, you find that those people making such.
And I remember also my mom used to stock honey some time back. I remember her also teaching me how to make cobra from the honey wax. Like after you remove the honey, there's that dirt, and then once you boil the dirt, there are some like fats that come out, and they are yellow in color. So once you remove them and then let them to dry, and then when they dry, you get actually paraffin and the same honey wax, and then mix. And then put some color.
You see,
it's actually
it also requires paraffin.
Yes, it does.
I'm looking at the shortage of paraffin in
and those that are in business, I don't know if there's still people that do business of making cobra and then pass through the compounds to sell that. I don't know if they still do that. But I remember where we used to stay. They're in Makeni. Makeni, where my parents are. There are people that used to pass baskets aka cobra. Kwadebe ya pepo, ya grey, ya red.
I think nowadays it's rare. You only find them markets. If you want cobra, you only buy
that
from
used
the
to
market.
shine the floors.
If they shine,
Chakwata to their butts to they shine
somehow.
But anyways, 0968675273 is the number that you're catching us on. Right about now, we'll just take a quick short break, and then we'll join you on the other side.
On Monday, 20th June 2022, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba as he hosts Honorable Elvis Nkandu, Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts. Don't miss as they discuss UPND 10 months of being in power.
As government through the ministry, we have demanded for a report from the service provider, and we need a refund and underline, because as we are not wastive, and the payment for expenses suffered.
Invite others to participate through phoning, on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages.
On DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98 and Topstar channel 106.
Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
And there you have it. We'll come back from that short break. It has been an interesting journey because we had so interesting topics. So we still have the interesting topics.
Yes, and we have one last story.
Yes.
Yesterday we were remembering Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. Yes, and this is what happened at the Cathedral of the Holy Cross.
Hallelujah.
No.
Almost all the young men are who are the rest are professional young men from the press, from Dr. Wells, the professors in that team, the well-balanced team, the gender sensitive, the models, and boys and girls. So the country is going in the right way. You think that his friends there, we rest in peace. We are going to enjoy our stay in heaven. Because this country is now going to deliver to ourselves. Going from the northern part of the country, in other parts of the country where coffee was not known, was not produced. So coffee was for asphalt, tea was for asphalt, cattle was for asphalt. This is great, isn't it? Education. Some of us went to school, faced 3, 4, 5 years no use. But went to school. Okay. How do we remember him? I was a determined person. The day.
Well, welcome back. We apologize for that. But anyways, that's how the memorial went. And I was just saying something. He sounds like his father.
And he looks like him.
He does,
He does. They resemble big time. Anyway, that's the son.
Anyway, the fruit doesn't fall far from its tree. But anyways, moving on to our first interview of the day, we have a very responsible citizen. We have a very responsible citizen. I don't want to mispronounce your son. Chitandala.
Chandala.
Yo. Mr. Chandala, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Morning, thank you, Precious.
What have you brought for us today? We were expecting breakfast.
Definitely.
You know, you're coming to see ladies,
Yes,
some roses, and chocolates, some bottles of non-alcoholic wine.
Yeah.
Oh, now since we are told, I think next time we not to see.
Fresh photo. So let's get into our topic of discussion. It's quite vague because there are quite a number of issues, and we've literally just decided to target national issues. Let's get to one of the things that has caught your attention. There are quite a number of things. We're talking of the current New-Dawn government being in government for 10 months and how their performance has been from that time. We're talking about the CDF and how one can have access to it, and how people are having access to having access to it because it's been in the banks for the longest and no one has managed to access it. Quite a number. The list is endless. So let's get into what has caught your attention during this period.
Thank you very much, Precious. As leadership movement, I think we have been clear and we have been firm on solid grounds to say at the moment the Zambian need jobs. You know, youths waked up around 03 to go and cast their votes. Yeah, they knew to say once we change government from PF maybe to UPND, we're going to have jobs. And a poor mother out there was expectant to say the moment there is a change of government, we're going to see a cost of bag of meal going down. We are going to see essential commodities going down. And it's 10 months down the line. What we were anticipating has not come to pass. And we have been getting sweet talks, or talk, no actions. Our friends are good in terms of when it comes to speeches, but in reality, the reactions are not moving according to their pronouncements. So as a leadership movement, we are getting to wonder to say, what has taken our friends so long for them to implement their policies they were opposing or they were in opposition? Because believe you me, at the moment we don't need to say they must be given time. Let's give them time. We need to say the PF government have spoiled this nation, and there is need now for leaders who take over from the PF to be practical oriented, so that they can clean up this mess. We should not keep on mentioning PF in each and every program which we want to implement. There is need of coming up with actions now different from what the PF did. For instance, we are talking about 30,000 teachers recruitment. We are talking about 11,200 health workers, which were pronounced, that was in October, by the Honorable Minister of Finance, Tumbeko Msokotwane. And it's now 10 months since the New-Dawn government budget. It's now 6 months. And we haven't seen any tangible results. We are just seeing this process prolonging each and every time, instead of having results which will settle well with the citizen, and also those teachers who are desperate for this employment. We keep on prolonging to say, no, there's this minister who says, you know, we are going to account this recruitment process in our province. This one comes, they just want to buy time. But as a leadership movement, under the leadership of Dr. Chatsurumbe, we said it in the first main place that secondary jobs are not cardinal at the moment. As our friends stated to say, we have inherited empty coffers. Where are they going to get money to pay these teachers and nurses from? And we have seen the IMF bailout as prolonged as well. So the more it prolongs, the more the recruitment process also prolongs. But as a leadership movement, we thought in the first main place we need to do with primary jobs. Jobs which would deal with production. Jobs which would do with the factories. Jobs which would deal with state farms in every district. Because sincerely, Godman, today we are debating as a nation to say we need Vendetta to come back to take over Mopani. Wow, we can learn Mopani under ZNS. Wow, we can learn Kasenseri Godman under ZNS. But with our colonial mindset, which believes anything foreign is better, we want to put these mean-laws in the hands of foreigners, and we want to keep on complaining each and every time to say, no, we have no money, what and so forth. It's high time we need to embrace ourselves and understand to say God has given us the natural resources. If God has given us the natural resources, we need to utilize them in such a manner so that we can make sure that Zambians are proud of our nation, not whereby we don't know where it goes to. So in as much as the new Dawn government want to sustain these 3,000 teachers. We have no money. We were supposed to deal with the primary jobs today. A bag of meal here in Zambia, it's 150 kwacha. When you go to Congo, Mkambo border there, it's selling at 800, 900 kwacha. So under ZDNS, if you have state farms, we produce millions, metric tons of maize. We do maize into a finished product. We sell to Congo. We gain that revenue income. That's really income into Zambia. Genuine, not IMF one. Genuinely into Zambia, we invest it back. In Kasensari Goldman, we do the same. At the end of 1 year, 6 months, we are going to say, we have made so much in our coffers. Okay, we are able to recruit now 30,000 teachers because we already have money in our coffers. Not the money you have not yet seen, the money you are just anticipating, the money you are just projecting. What if IMF says we are not going to help you? Again, I step back and we need to be thinking ahead.
Quite great points that you have actually stressed out, Mr. Chandalala. Now, you being Secretary General of the opposition, and you're not the only one, well, there are other opposition leaders that have offered critics and checks and balances to the current New Dawn government. While the focus is on what hasn't been done, have you also taken time, you being in the opposition, looking at the time frame they've been in government and how much stuff they've implemented from their promises during the campaigns?
Yes, we have done that.
Is there a good from all the bad that is coming out from the opposition?
They have done quite a number of good things. Like, for instance, they have achieved to reduce cadalism. I can't say that cadalism is
the same as it was then.
Yes, they have reduced that, and also there is freedom of expression. We're back in PF and leadership movement. They can come on this platform and expose their ideas to the people, the way it used to happen in the PF. So they're in some areas where they have done good. For instance, when we talk of cadalism, we talk of free education, though again free education has got some challenges because today schools, classrooms have been occupied and our children are just sitting on blocks, on bricks, so on and so forth, and the learning materials are few, so on and so forth. But we can say that in these two areas they have done a lot. And there is in also other areas like the fight against corruption, reducing the cost of living, again coming up with employment. On these critical issues, this is where now leadership movement, we have put it much in our interest because we know to say when UPND fails, we all fail. At the end of the day, they're not going to point at us to say Mundima leadership movement have not failed. They'll point at us all to say you have failed. So when the New Dawn government wins, we all win, regardless of your political affiliation. No wonder as leadership movement we are not in this political scenario to insult. You know, we have seen other political parties who have taken critics too personal. They cannot just criticize the New Dawn government unless they point out someone, what on and so forth. But as leadership movement, we think critics must come with wisdom and must come with knowledge. We should know how to criticize and we should know how best way we can help our friends. Because if we just keep on putting the issue at forefront to say let them fail so that we have a stepping stone, let them fail, we're not going to progress. We need to wish them well, and where they're not doing good as leadership movement, we'll come on board to say instead of you recruiting 10,000 teachers, in the first main place you are supposed to recruit 4 million young people under ZNS, and they can construct themselves to say what is leadership movement talking about. Okay, yes, maybe we made an error whereby we lashed to implement secondary jobs, but what if we were to switch to primary jobs? How can it help? These are solutions the Zambian people out there want to listen. They don't want to listen to say, no, what to do, no, what to, what to. So they don't, that kind of politics is long gone. That kind of politics should have remained in PF. This is not done. So we also urge and emphasize to all political leaders who are aspiring for political office to be practical. They should not take personal matters on social media, on social platforms, where we need to utilize this time to sensitize our people to say, Dr. Chad Solombe, once we're given a mandate in 2026, we're going to make sure that we create 4 million jobs for the young people. We are going to make sure that every Zambian owns lands with title deed. We are going to make sure that Zambian businesses, Zambian entrepreneurs are given tax breaks and tax holidays. We are going to make sure that it supports your local team. Local is like these are the issues which, as a leadership movement, we are bringing on the table.
Great. So now you have actually done well to touch on you as the opposition offering critics and also trying to find a way to bring solutions to the table. Now, you being from the opposition, in as much as you are throwing the critics against the New Dawn government, what way are you using to make sure that you reach out to the solutions of some of the problems that the country is facing?
One, we are using such platforms like Camnet, because believe you me, we have so many UPND officials who have tuned in to this breakfast show. And also, apart from this, we are also using other media platforms and also engaging the communities, engaging elected leaders to tell them to say, guys, Onan, your promises was based on this, but you have diverted it 180 degrees Celsius from your premises. And believe you me, not all Zambians are patient. Others can understand, but others are becoming frustrated on your habits because you have changed from what you used to promise them and what you are doing. And now they are putting all politicians in one basket to say, my politicians, they are one and the same. Politicians are all liars. Well, not. If others, if our friends like in Uganda can develop, are they not politicians? If our friends in Kenya can develop, are they not politicians? It's high time now we need to embrace ourselves and understand where we are coming from, where we are, and where we are going, and what kind of a Zambia do we want to leave behind for our children's children. Because believe you me, if we continue on this same path, our children will kiss our graves to say what were they doing when they had the energy to change one or two things. So it's high time as leadership movement we have stood firm to say enough is enough. We as leadership movement, we believe it's Zambia for Zambians, rich or poor. We are not capitalists. We are not socialists, we are nationalists. We want to make sure that our mineral resources develop and make sure that it enriches every Zambian. This is what we believe in. We don't believe to say in order for us to undertake massive development, we need the foreign aid. We don't believe in that. We believe in local solutions to say if only the natural resource and our talent interacts, we're able to come up with a product. Because we know for a fact to say money is a byproduct. And if money is a byproduct or money is a medium of exchange, so if money is a medium of exchange, what products do we have as a country which we are able to offer to South Africa, which we can offer to Congo, which we can offer to Angola? We have no product. So it's high time we need to look into these products so that we can produce these products using the energy of the young people, 4 million jobs under ZDNS, ZDNS State Farms, ZDNS Kasensari Gold Mine, ZDNS Copper Mine, ZDNS Aluminium Mine, and also ZDNS construction. We don't want to keep on seeing AVIC to be constructing our roads, to be constructing our universities. Better under ZDNS cheap labor, we're able to do this massive construction as a country.
It's a good thing that you're in opposition. You've got so many things lined up of what you would do if you were to be in government. So my next question is asking, you being in opposition right now, what is it that you are doing, or what projects do you currently have that are leading to you, if you were to be in office 2026, the projects that are leading to you to rule a nation better? Because majority of the things I hear from opposition is what hasn't been done yet by the government that is in power at that particular time. And also one thing I have noticed is that opposition political parties wait until they're in power to implement certain projects or to start certain projects. Now, you being a Secretary General from the opposition, what projects are you doing now before you get in power? Is there anything that you're doing for the youths as a party, or maybe you're waiting to get in power and then you can implement certain projects?
Thank you very much, Precious. First and foremost, the leadership movement, we are not politicians. We are reformers. So as reformers, we walk the talk. We are not all talk, no actions, but we walk the talk. So just after elections in 2021, Dr. Richard Silumben leadership movement, we embarked on a journey to claim 4.5 million Zambians in business training schemes. And after elections, even before elections, we had national empowerment. And up to this time, we have continued. And after elections, we have empowered close to 10 groups. In Kitwe, Kapoto area there, we have set up a manufacturing plant for the youth, whereby they're able to do welding, so on and so forth. Women are able to go at that manufacturing center, they're able to train tailoring, so on and so forth, so they can be making a living. And apart from that, in Kana, Kwacha East, we went there. Dr. Silumbe empowered women with fish ponds, where they are being empowered in upper farming. So we have lined up so many programs at the moment as leadership movement, and we are going in every constituency, because we don't just want to criticize the government, we also have to offer solutions on our land. So where we can, in our own capacity as leadership movement, we are training 4.5 million Zambians in Southern Province. So just recently, last week, we were in Monze. That's why we were doing this business training skill, and today there is a training skill which is taking place in Livingstone, And probably next week will be in Central Province, which is Mokushi and Selenje, to spearhead these projects which we have lined up as leadership movement. So we as a party, we want to be different from these other political parties. Yes, we have seen and we know to say while we're in opposition, many leaders do just criticize without any tangible platform on the ground which they can convince the masses to say, "Now, criticize when you don't government. Now, if we're in a situation or capacity to do this, all they know is to show off, to say they have money, but that money is not even reaching a poor Zambian, a poor farmer, a poor youth out there. All they know is youth need to swim. They forget and they think that's empowerment. But as leadership movement, we are working on the mindset of the people. To the change of mindset. We don't want the kind of politics which they have been exposed to for so long. Politics yaftenge, politics yama t-shirt, politics yabwa alwanga, wabashita fyo bwa alwanga mpita ndile fya mano. They will celebrate and they'll go vote for that MP. Once they vote, again they start trying to say, MP vote, nothing changes. Because they forget to say they are much anchored on petty things like fitenge, beer, so on and so forth. But we want a kind of situation whereby our citizen will be demanding a message, of hope from the leaders who are aspiring to say, what are you going to do different? Because believe you me, precious, today, even if I have no manifesto, I have no any tangible ideas, now I have to as long as I have money, they'll vote for me. Not even, they're not going to vote for an idea, but they'll vote based to saying, I'm able to buy beer for the youths, to influence their mind. I'm able to influence women, do so on and so forth. But we as a leadership movement, we are preaching to say, fitenge materials, beer drinking is not development. Since when have we been putting on fitenge? Since UNIP, MMD, PF, now new dawn. But we are bringing in the kind of politics as leadership movement to say, we are dance. Because but if we empower you, if we give a skill to your child, they can go out and look for a piece work, they make a living, and they feed them their family. This is the kind of development we want. And believe you me, in 2026, as we keep on preaching as a leadership movement, the mindset change will be there, and they'll start seeing things in a different perspective.
Okay, so now running away from national matters or national issues, we'll get into our topic of discussion for today, which is we saw a report on the newspapers, both international and local, of over 4,000 girls being infected with HIV and AIDS weekly. What is your take on that?
On that, first and foremost, we as leadership movement, we understand to say these are young people, it's because of poverty. I've been a youth, I think we have been doing these researches mainly, we have been moving in compounds, we have been moving in communities, and we understand what's happening today, whereby many families today are not affording a cost of living. And if they have a girl child home, better they use the body of that girl child to make a living. And also these same girl childs themselves are not responsible enough today. They think for them to make a living, they need to engage themselves in bad activities. They need to start going in bars, so on and so forth, in order for them to sustain themselves. So as a leadership movement, we understand and we know very well to say all these issues can be curbed if many Zambians start affording a living. You know, today it's very imbalanced whereby we have families who are going to bed without any single meal today. And believe you me, male children, they will engage themselves in bad activities such as stealing, so on and so forth. And female, they also engage themselves in all sorts of bad activities. So what we need as a caring nation and as a government, first and foremost, is we need to cure the device of poverty. If we work on the vices of poverty, believe you me, and job creation, believe you me, we are going to see these issues of to do with HIV and AIDS start reducing. Because today, a 15-year-old girl or a 18-year-old girl, today they are risking themselves to go out with a 40-year-old man, you know, just to make a living, because they know to say, or something. They'll give her 100 kwacha. They'll give her a 50 kwacha to buy lotion. They'll give her a what to do what, and so on and so forth. But if we had the current government and we had a nation which was productive, whereby many families, poverty will be the issue of the past. Believe you me, their children will not keep on going out to look for a living. But if we have families today who are struggling to make a living, these are the cases whereby breakfast, lunch, but they have no money home. So our young children, our young brothers and sisters, they end up engaging themselves in bad activities. Others, they end up being locked up in police cells, in prisons because of poverty. But if we keep this vice of poverty, believe you me, I can just assure you, within a year, we are going to see this issue of eye infections of HIV reduce instantly, because many families, many youths are able to afford a living and they are not going to expose their bodies to make a living.
Okay.
That's so interesting. You know, looking at the CDF, which has come into power. So you've mentioned to say the reason why a lot of young ladies or young youths are being engaged into being infected with the HIV. So you said the poverty is affecting. It's also adding up to people having that infection. So when we talk about the CDF, is it helping out in the community, or maybe people haven't yet heard much of it, or maybe?
Say, I can assure you to say this CDF has brought, I think, more harm than good in our communities. And again, there is lack of sensitization. It's 6 months down the line when these youths were told to form cooperatives. Today, we have so many cooperatives which have been formed, and none of those cooperatives have received these funds from the CDF. And in areas to do like in Mochenga province in Pika, I talk of Mpongwe, I talk of Katimba, Southern province. There are so many areas whereby even the youths in these areas are not aware of this CDF. And just recently, I was seeing an a post on the issue of the fuel tankers, which the Ministry of Youth and Sports will be giving probably in 2 weeks' time. I was wondering to say, how come the Ministry of Youth and Sports have reached this conclusion whereby they will be handing over these fuel tankers to youths who have applied? But I made a follow-up. Just, I think, 2 days ago, I was in Kabwe, in the Kapili. I was trying to do a fact-finding mission on how best way the residents of Kapili, the residents of Kabwe, Makululu, know about CDF. And believe you me, the answer and the response I was receiving was very shocking, because most of the youths who intend to benefit from these CDF programs are arrogant about it. It's 6 months down the line, we have seen no any tangible sensitization, we have seen no aggressive mindset change on these young people, especially these people who have formed cooperatives. And I begin to wonder, as leadership movement, or as Chandra myself, to say, we don't want to continue doing the same things which were happening in the past. We saw what was happening in the PF government, whereby they come up with an empowerment program which only empowers people affiliated to PF, leaving out the indigenous Zambians again. So this is the same thing which I'm thinking, if we're not careful, we are going to move in such a same mess in the new PND government, because many youths who are not affiliated to the councillor, who are not affiliated to the WDC, who are not affiliated to the DC, who are not affiliated to the MP, are very much arrogant about this. And it's just that new information. If me, Chandrara, I know to say quicker opportunity, I'll push Nganiwa Precious to say, Precious, form a cooperative. And I'll keep on pushing through you, but I want to be in the forefront, you know. And it's becoming very challenging for our people to access this. And we as leadership movement have always been advising on accountability. We should not be spending just money, giving empowerment programs, while at the end of the day they fail to pay back. We need to scrutinize how many cooperatives are ready to pay back. Today, people are just forming cooperatives for the sake of to access money. The moment they access money, believe you me, that cooperative will be abolished. They're not going to see it because they have achieved their agenda. So we need to sensitize, and you need to know. Forming cooperatives, what's your goal? How do you want to see your cooperative in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year? they give us a short term and the long term, so that we are able to assess them to say, oh, okay, if we empower these youths, they have a bright future, they can also empower their fellow youths. But today, if we empower a group of youths who are affiliated to a political party, and they know to say, to have a president, from out. So if you want to access money, forming a cooperatives. So that cooperatives, the moment we get this money, no, me I'll go buy Jameson so that these are the plans other youths have. Not all youths can learn cooperatives. There are other youths who are ready to work, not to learn a business. Because believe you me, business is an issue. Instantly, if you want to do business, you need to know accounts, you need to know bookkeeping, you need to know so many things. So, and we have many youths who are not ready to undergo such kind of processes, because in business you need to be patient enough. You should do into a profit, same profit there. How you're forgetting of tomorrow. So we need to sensitize and make sure that accountability is at the forefront. See, Sarah, the issue of Eiger buses, where has it gone? In PF government, you used to hear, could issue my Eiger buses. Today, Eiger buses are just parked at the government complex. How many youths or how many cooperatives who got those Eiger buses are paid back? None of them. We have just had to say, no, my Eiger buses in the personal pressure and to some cooperatives have failed to pay back the money, and they are just parked. This is the issue we need to do away with. We need to make sure that whenever we put in money, those monies we put in, they need to bring results at the end of the day.
Yes, great. Okay, Ms. Chandala, unfortunately, we've come to the dying minutes of the show. You've stretched out quite a number of things that we appreciate. Wishing you all the best as you vie for the 2026 presidential seat. And we hope that you also don't change your minds. If at some point you get in power, if at some point you get in power. But anyways, thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the dying minutes of the show. Yeah. Unfortunately, we have to pack our bags and go. I would love to say thank you to everybody that came through via Facebook, and also you who has been glued from the time the show started. Well, from me, Precious Mzea Sakaleji, Sarah Chandambanga, and also Secretary General from the Leadership Movement, Mr. Chandalala, and also not forgetting our camera person, Amos Lungu, and also Mr. Isaac Chifita on the other side. It's good morning and enjoy the rest of your day.